More protests Monday in Atlanta and Houston, with demonstrators demanding justice for the 17-year-old.
The protests, all of them, certainly very passionate, but also very peaceful, are maybe the most heartening thing in this entire weekend, in that they clearly are highly multiracial.
Could something positive perhaps come from this verdict for all of us, regardless of race?
I think it's really important to have conversations about this issue, in part because it's so apparent that for many populations, they're having entirely different interpretations of this verdict. So one of the things that I am trying to communicate is that for a significant portion of white Americans, this just looks like a case where there was some ambiguity and not necessarily about race, although admittedly a tragedy. And I do think with each individual case, there's always a way to look at it and say, well, we don't know if this is about race. It's actually in the accumulation of all of these episodes over multiple generations.
Today, the New York Daily News featured a hooded sweatshirt on its cover with the names of black men killed in decades past.
There was Amadou Diallo, there was Sean Bell, and there was Oscar Grant. Like Trayvon, each of these innocent young men was shot and killed while unarmed.
And now the case of Trayvon Martin, who joins the legacy of Emmett Till and Medgar Evers as an innocent man shot down without a sense of justice as a response.
Violent deaths that don't have remedy, particularly for young black men, but also for black women. In that accumulation, you begin to understand how it's about race. And more than that, you begin to feel that experience not just a sense of having a second-class citizenship because the value of your life is less, but also a sense of terror that we live with. Particularly, I can say that particularly with respect to being the mother of sons, there's a fear that's associated with the idea that your child could be treated with absolute brutality and impunity, and there may not be a remedy, and you may not be able to protect your child.
Just to hear my son begging for his life really disturbed me as a mother. That was my baby, and he was pleading for his life.
It's important for us to feel that it is not just African Americans who are outraged, but that there's a wide sector of the population who's outraged. If there's some solidarity across the lines of race and ethnicity and various forms of identity around the question of how can we make a society where the body you're born into doesn't predict so much in your life, I think that it opens up the possibility for greater humanity to connect across difference. And I think that's necessary for all communities, because there's so many communities that are affected by inequality in different ways.